Is this thing on? Welcome back to Big Mouth, and fancy seeing you here in June. A very welcome, my friends, and especially my enemies. Come in, sit down, no touching. I don't do the touching. And welcome to Thursday's edition on the best. It's the best. I can't get the words out. The best DCEU daily video chat you can find. And today, Screen Rant right via Brad Curran. The Flash, how Ezra Miller's vision is winning against Warner Brothers. I don't think he's winning against Warner Brothers. I think, look, his vision and is pretty much what they're going to do. Christina Hodgson is going to adapt his story. That's what's going to happen. This is very, very rare. This hasn't happened since Superman 4, The Quest of the Peace, when Christopher Reeve came back, had an idea, and it was adapted. Now, we all know how that went, but this film isn't going to go this way. This is very, very different. So let's read this article. Ezra Miller's chances of getting his version of the Flash movie look better than ever, as his desires for the film seem to be winning out against Warner Brothers. Andy Muschietti is now expected to direct the DCEU film with Christina Hodgson coming aboard as a screenwriter. The Flash has proven to be the DCEU project to have seen the most development hurdles, a true irony for the fastest man alive. That's even been noted by Ezra Miller himself. Yet, with Muschietti and Hodgson joining the film, along with Miller remaining attached as the title character, things seem to be finally picking up. The news of Muschietti and Hodgson's involvement comes in the aftermath of the creative impasse reached by Miller and former directors John Francis Daley and Jonathan Goldstein. Miller's days as the Scarlet Speedster seem numbered. They were never numbered, by the way. With the news that he and comic book writer Grant Morrison were penning a new, darker Flash screenplay in a bid to have Miller to remain in the role, yet Daley and Goldstein would ultimately depart the project, with Miller remaining on board. That was always going to be the realisation. Warner Brothers don't want to upset Ezra Miller. He's their star boy. He's their star turn. You know, they really like Ezra Miller, you know, and there's no question about that. Looking at the very protracted development process for The Flash, Miller's clear passion for the role of Barry Allen, as seen in his talk of incorporating the Speedster's multiverse into the story, among other elements, is ultimately one of the several factors that led to his vision for the project winning out. Here's how he got his vision of The Flash. Ezra Miller first signed on as the DCEU's Barry Allen in 2014. In those 5 years, The Flash has seen a succession of directors come and go from the project. The film original director Seth Grahame-Smith walked from the project in early 2016. The Flash would then see Rick Famuyiwa board the film, with the director even appearing on stage alongside his fellow DCEU filmmakers at the 2016 San Diego Comic-Con. Only for, I'm killing his name right, only for Famuyiwa to vacate the director's chair by that October. The Daley-Goldstein duo would be the next to sign on for the project, though by that point, The Flash had now missed its targeted 2018 release window. While both Smith and Famuyiwa had cited creative differences as the reasoning behind their departure, many fans were upbeat about the prospects of the film finally getting off the ground, with Daley and Goldstein targeting a 2020 release date prior to the duo's departure earlier this summer. Meanwhile, since signing on as the character in 2014, Miller has made 2 cameos as Barry Allen in Batman v Superman, Suicide Squad, building to the major portrayal of the character in Justice League. For all the creative birthing plans, The Flash has gone through Miller has been the one party to consistently remain attached to The Flash, where a project being stuck in such a state of development hell has frequently dissuaded other actors. Miller has shown no sign of losing interest in the role, and that by itself speaks to his commitment to portraying Barry Allen. It absolutely does, and his passion for the project and the universe and the character cannot be questioned. There's no question about that. While the past year and a half have seen the DCEU release both Aquaman and Shazam, The Flash was originally intended to release prior to both, meaning that the project arguably no longer fulfills the same role in the larger DCEU story as it was initially intended to. I'm not sure about that. That's important when discussing Ezra Miller, as by all accounts he signed on as Barry Allen with the understanding that the character would fall within certain creative parameters. Which full details of the intended story for The Flash have never been fully revealed. The Flashpoint story arc, which kick-started DC Comics' New 52 reboot, was reportedly the basis for the film, as recently as 2017. Flashpoint sees Barry Allen travel back in time to prevent the murder of his mother, Nora Allen, by the Reverse Flash. However, Barry's decision throws the DC universe into an apocalyptic catalysm that sees Atlantis and Themyscira go to war with another, and Thomas Wayne becoming a twisted Batman. The Flashpoint story clearly fits in well with Zack Snyder's original layout of the DCEU, especially in regard to its portrayal of Barry Allen, with Miller having signed on as Barry Allen with this version of the character in mind, and Jeffrey Dean Morgan up to return as the Thomas Wayne Batman. His commitment always presupposed the role of the Flash in the DCEU would be in that specific vein, especially with time travel being a major component of his character arc. However, that seemed to change following the failure of Justice League and hiring of Daly and Goldstein. Something that's been very clear since Miller joined the DCEU is that he knows the Flash inside and out. There's no question about that. His passion for the character and excitement for tackling the role of Barry Allen has been consistently visible in every interview he's given since his casting. Miller clearly relishes the opportunity, and his aforementioned talk of the Speedster multiverse specifically point to the pivotal role he sees the project fulfilling in the larger DCEU. What's more, Miller's never shown the slightest dip in enthusiasm, despite seeing one director after another sign on and walk from the project. In fact, despite those difficulties, he's described the project in terms of being a gift to the fans. Above all, he wanted to maintain a dark, mature version of the story that took its cue from Snyder's take on the DC Pantheon, going as far as to pen a script with Grant Morrison, in line with what he signed on for, speaks volumes of his passion for the character, and is clear evidence of just how stark the contrast was between his vision for the Flash and that of Daly and Goldstein. While Warner Brothers rejected Miller and Morrison's script, the studio decided to keep him in the role despite his Flash contract reportedly being up. However, it was Miller's desire for a darker take, what Daly and Goldstein envisioned, rather than the script itself, that was the real point of the endeavour. The actor remaining following the director's departure signals of the direction to the Flash and its role in the DCEU. While both Aquaman and Shazam had their share of levity, James Wan and David F. Sandberg made sure they weren't lacking for darker elements. Exactly. However, conversely, Daly and Goldstein come from an outright comedic background, with their screenwriting role on Marvel's Spider-Man Homecoming being indicative of the direction they likely intended for the Flash. Andy Muschietti, of course, is best known for directing It, an unapologetically dark and violent horror film, which is sure to be the case for the upcoming sequel, It Chapter 2. At a minimum, Muschietti's involvement signals a compromise on the part of Warner Brothers for Miller's desire for a dark take for the Flash. Additionally, Muschietti is now one of the several horror directors to join the DCEU, which indicates the overall direction of the franchise and the role of the Flash within it will be one less comedy-driven than Daly and Goldstein's for the project. And, there's more. Aside from his clear passion for the role, Ezra Miller also had an additional bargaining chip with his attachment to the Fantastic Beasts franchise, with its direct ties into Warner Bros.' highly profitable Harry Potter series. Fantastic Beasts is hardly a franchise that the studio has any intention of rebooting outside of his role in the Justice League as ensemble. Miller has only made 2 cameo appearances as Barry Allen, meaning that the Flash is a character Warner Bros. Could recast if they choose to do so. Indeed, the studio could even theoretically shift the focus to the Wally West or Bart Allen version of the Scarlet Speedster. if the situation proved untenable. With Miller as the last man standing in the project's creative disagreements, it indicates that Warner Brothers greatly values Miller's involvement with Fantastic Beasts. Actually, it just shows that the big picture is that he is their Mr. Warner Brothers. He's the actor they want. They don't want to lose him. It's not about Fantastic Beasts. It's about Ezra Miller and keeping his exclusive deal with Warner Brothers. That's the point. The ending of last year's Fantastic Beasts, The Crimes of Grindelwald, also makes clear that Miller's character, Credence Bone, is to be a key player in the future of the series. With Miller's vision winning out and the boarding of Machete and Hodgson, all signs point to Miller's involvement in Fantastic Beasts as a major factor in Warner Brothers' decision to keep him in the role and offer a compromise towards his vision for The Flash. It should be emphasised that the Flash situation is not yet a done deal. Yes, it is. And surely the number of directors who have boarded and departed the project show that the film can still be subject to change. This is the situation with movie media. They either don't understand the industry and don't understand when something's a done deal, or they purposely try and stir the trough. I think it's the latter. However, that fact remains that Ezra Miller has been the only participant to stay put through all of the project's directorial difficulties. Furthermore, Machete's horror pedigree indicates that the project is lining up more to be Miller's liking, while Christina Hodgson's boarding as screenwriter is a major push from the studio giving her scripting duties on Birds of Prey. And the in-development Batgirl. It's been a long time coming for the fastest man alive, but with these latest developments on The Flash, Barry Allen's long jettisoning solo film could finally be escaping its creative purgatory. And that's the article. I like the article. I don't like the fact that he keeps on insisting that the only reason he's remaining on the Flash project is because of his role in Fantastic Beasts. Wrong, wrong, wrong. They like the actor. They don't want to lose the actor. He's a Warner Brothers guy. They want him to remain a Warner Brothers guy. And of course the situation with Fantastic Beasts is an issue. Fantastic Beasts has its own problems, doesn't it? And he's the best part of it. He's the character who's got this great story. And I think he is what's so good about what J.K. Rowling has done with those two films so far. But at the end of the day, nobody wanted to lose Ezra as the Flash. As the article says, his passion for the project. And, you know, as for Goldstein and the other guy who are working on it, that was Kevin Sugihara. We know he wanted to Marvelise the DCEU. And that's what Goldstein and his partner were going to do. They were going to make a kind of a Back to the Future light DCEU movie. Ezra Miller didn't want that. And let's stop saying that Andy Machete's involvement in this film means it's going to be dark and scary. Richard Donner directed the Omen movie with Gregory Peck, one of the darkest horror movies you'll ever see. Jesus Christ, Gregory Peck is standing there with a bunch of knives ready to kill Damien, a baby Damien, right? And then he goes and does Superman a movie, a very corny, campy, awesome superhero movie, a bright, inspirational. Just because you're a horror director and you've been successful doesn't mean you're going to make a superhero movie dark and uncompromising. There will be dark elements in this Flash movie, but Ezra Miller wanted Warner Brothers to develop a Flash universe, the multiverse. Bart Allen, Wally West, he wants to see it all. This is what the future is. But the truth is, this is what Walter Hamada wants to do anyway, create a franchise within a franchise. And that is exciting. So this is Walter Hamada as well. This is not just Ezra Miller. Of course, Ezra Miller's passion, not wanting a jokey MCU Marvelised Flash movie and Flash universe, is very vital and important. And him saying to Grant Morrison, "Oi, Grant, let's go and write our own story." Now, the script's been rejected, but the story hasn't been rejected. The adaptation hasn't been rejected. So now Hodgson will adapt their story. She's got great quality. They obviously really like her. And all that's happening here is not... The thing you've got to focus on isn't that they're horror directors. This is what's going on. New Line Cinema are now running the DC world of movies. We're about to see one of their entries in the Joker movie. I've seen that film, and it's absolutely fantastic. We are heading to a really, really good direction. And those people saying that all they're doing is making unambitious, low-budget movies, there is no way you can sit there in front of your YouTube audience, whoever's doing and saying this, right, and say, oh, well, yeah, even the Flash may be low budget. It won't be. It's impossible to make a low-budget Flash movie. Everyone knows the Flash. Everyone wants to see Ezra as the Flash. Ezra's passion and determination to make this Flash franchise something special is something that me and the hardcore Flash fans will always be grateful for a very, very long time. And I am so excited, and it is a done deal. It is going to happen. Look, right, as I said, Sugihara wanted to Marvelise the DCEU. That's why Goldstein and his mate were there. This is what was going on. And, you know, now Walter Hamada's coming. It's about making really, really good movies. Not trying to Marvelise the situation, making good solo projects, right? That's what it is. It's not about making low-budget movies. It's about making good movies. I'm not done with you yet today. There is another article I want to read out to you, and this is about Ben Affleck's Batman movie. It would have gone into Arkham Asylum. Now, I knew this at the time, actually. I was pretty confident about this and very, very, very excited about it. So why didn't this happen? Why was his script rejected and his idea? Well, it was, you know, it came after Man of Steel and Batman v Superman and Suicide Squad, and the critics and the mainstream audience had rejected the darkness of the DCEU. So Warner Brothers were hardly going to accept this dark, you know, concept. I mean, don't get me wrong, the Arkham games are awesome, and he was going to adapt it. He was going to adapt that game. You know, and I forgot the exact name of the really popular Arkham Asylum game. But the point is, this would have been really, really popular with a lot of fanboys and girls. But unfortunately, what went wrong here is that Warner Brothers decided they weren't going to go the dark Snyder way anymore. And they wanted to make changes. And I think when you saw the success of Wonder Woman, even then plans were in place to bring in Walter Hamada. Even then. So really, really, really sad. But Collider have done an article. Yeah, I know, those friends of the DCEU. But we're going to read it, right? Ben Affleck's solo Batman movie will remain a fascinating what-if in the annals of superhero movies. Affleck was attached to direct and star, but as the DCEU crumbled and fell apart, oh, God, shut up, Affleck eventually departed the project, first handing directing over to Matt Reeves before leaving the role entirely, where now a younger Robert Pattinson will wear the cape and cap. But what did Affleck have in store? His live-by-night cinematographer, Robert Richardson, was also attached to this project, and he's recently been doing the rounds for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood on the Happy, Sad, Confused podcast via the playlist. Richardson revealed that Affleck's Batman movie would have taken place inside Arkham Asylum, the institution for the criminally insane that houses the superhero rogues gallery when they're not out doing crimes. He was going into the more insanity aspects. He was entering more into the Arkham. He's going into where everyone was bad, said Richardson. That's where we were going. I was very interested in that one. But Richardson also knows there was a script, but not a loved script. Well, I've just explained that, haven't I? There was a lot of work he was doing to it, to change it. And this is exactly what Zack Snyder was forced to do by Sugihara with his Justice League script. It's the same situation because they were, you know, Sugihara and WB were under such pressure. The universe was deemed to be too dark. So, as I say, Warner Brothers, it was really difficult for, and I've explained this situation. They wanted Christopher Nolan to mould this universe, and they were giving Zack Snyder and Ben Affleck. It's basically like going on a blind date, and you think you're getting one person, and then you get another. Or it's like Instagram girls. You go on a date with an Instagram girl. She looks beautiful. She's got the filters on. And when you meet her on a date, it's like, oh my God, it's Roseanne Barr. What the fuck? This is the same situation. I think a Batman movie set in Arkham would be a nice change of pace for the franchise. Previous Batman movies have been largely about Gotham, and it makes sense because it's a playground for the filmmaker, Burton Schumacher, or it provides a metaphor for America. Nolan, but Arkham is by its nature claustrophobic, and it traps Batman inside with his foes. That's part of what makes Batman Arkham Asylum such a terrific video game. Absolutely. We don't know what Reeves has in store, but hopefully Affleck will go on the record someday to talk about his vision for what his solo Batman movie would have been and the obstacles in getting the script right. Wow, not much of an article there, but it pretty much draws a picture. So the DP, who always works with Ben Affleck, I think he worked with him on Live by Night or one of his movies anyway. How do I feel about this? I feel that Batman Arkham Asylum would have been an awesome movie. It would have been, but it would have been too dark after how critics reacted to the other movies. And there was no way, no studio in their right mind would have sanctioned this. It would have been suicidal in terms of bringing the larger kind of mainstream audience and pleasing the critics. And that is part, unfortunately, Warner Brothers are a business. This is DC. It has the capacity to make so much money. And this is why this film was never made. But I'm not convinced that this script is in the bin. No. It wouldn't surprise me, right? No. Think about this. It wouldn't surprise me. We have been told that there are multiple villains in Matt Reeves' The Batman, right? How are you going to do this? How are you actually going to do this, right? Everyone's moaning about it being overcrowded like Batman Returns. Disclaimer, I love Batman Returns and didn't find it overcrowded. But anyway, just imagine this. How do you fit in all these criminals? Arkham Asylum. And it's a whodunit. So could it be a whodunit inside of Arkham Asylum? Could it be that actually Matt Reeves is adapting Ben Affleck's idea with a younger Batman? Or Ben Affleck could still be involved with this movie. I know it's unlikely, but it could be a flashback situation. Who knows what they're doing? We don't know. It could be Ben Affleck's Batman, who is stuck in Arkham, while he's flashing back at the same time to his younger days, just at the beginning of him being the Batman. Who knows? I could be wrong. It could be absolutely right that Ben Affleck is not involved in this movie, but that would be very, very interesting, highbrow, and something we've never seen before. So I do smell something here. It wouldn't surprise me if this part of this film is an older Batman stuck in Arkham while he flashes back to his early days. That would be a very interesting movie. Now, that would be very interesting to me. So I've always been suspicious that Ben Affleck, in some point, is involved in this film. Because this is part of the DCEU. Are they just rebooting Batman in the DCEU? I don't think so. I think from what I've seen, from what I've seen with Aquaman, and especially Shazam, they are very, very on a course correction plot, not on a reboot plot. It's very interesting yesterday, Mark Hughes, who's blocked me on Twitter, has been going on saying he's changed his mind about the Snyder Cut, and now he's kind of supporting it. And everyone in the movement's really excited. I'm not excited about it. I'm just changing the subject a little bit. He's a person who doesn't like opposing opinions. He blocked me on Twitter because he doesn't like opposing opinions. And people, when you're being constructive with someone in a heated debate and they just block you because they don't want to hear what you've got to say, and you're being polite, it's like the Ava DuVernay situation. She blocked me because I was constructive about A Wrinkle in Time. And, as well, I want to say this, because we've been hearing a lot from the Ask Ava hashtag. Of course, she blocked me on Twitter, so I had to get the information from science. But she has confirmed that Darkseid and the Furies are going to be in this movie. That really excites me. So you know what I'm going to do? Even though she blocked me, and I haven't been a big fan of her work so far, I'm going to be positive about New Gods. I'm going to start getting excited about this. If you're a DC fan and you're not excited with the multiple movies that are going in production in 2020, then you're not a DC fan, right? How can you be? This is so exciting. We have a more exciting slate, finally, than the MCU. It's freaking insane to be a DC movie world fan right now. Come off of it. So, and she's talking about using the same actors, and people are saying, oh, right. So she likes working with the same people. look, the fact of the matter is, she's going to cast a lot of people of colour, and I don't give a shit, right? Purple, black, white, I don't care. Just give me a great movie. Give all the representation you want, right? I don't care, right? Representation isn't a bad thing when you actually, give minorities and people of colour and women something to work with, right? Rather than saying, please get on your knees, minorities, people of colour and women. We're doing you a big favour. We're putting you in our films. When you do that, like you do it with Black Panther, it's very embarrassing and cringy. But I don't care about that. She clearly is a capable filmmaker, and with Tom King involved now, is it Tom King? Or whoever it is, right, the comic book writer, the legendary comic book writer, I think we could have something special here. So I'm supporting every DCEU movie. So I'm really, really excited. So what I'm going to finish off with is what I was saying, that there is a chance that Matt Reeves is adapting a Batman Arkham movie, partly with flashbacks to Batman's younger days. I could be wrong. This could be a very, very ambitious project. So what do you think? Are you excited about Ezra Miller and The Flash going into production next year? And it will go into production next year. Are you excited about the Batman? Are you regretful that maybe we will never see Ben Affleck's Batman Arkham Asylum movie? Of course I am. It would have been epic, but as I said, we may still get to see that movie. So please comment down below, please like, share and subscribe, and I shall see you tomorrow.